Welcome to Vlogmas number 19. I'm in the kitchen and we're gonna cook together today. So I'm gonna be doing a recipe that I've done multiple times now. This is Marry Me Tortellini. This is by Grilled Cheese Social, MacKenzie. That's where you can find her. We've actually met a few times in person at different media events, and this is a very solid one pot recipe. Her version on her website is vegetarian or vegan. I think it's just vegetarian. I won't be making it vegetarian because I'm actually using chicken broth. She uses veggie broth. I don't have veggie broth, I just have chicken broth, so that's what we're gonna use. Plus, I'm adding Italian hot sausage to the mix. So let me go over the ingredients, and then in her recipe you wouldn't be cooking the sausage, but I'll cook the sausage first, keeping it all in the same pot. I'll cook the sausage first so it's done and out of the way. But let's go over the rest of the ingredients. This is in order of how the ingredients will be used. So we have 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 6 cloves of garlic, a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes in oil, Italian seasoning, 1 tablespoon, a pinch of red pepper flakes, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 cups vegetable broth, a half a cup of cream, 2 cups fresh spinach, and then 1 cup of Parmesan. There's more than 1 cup in there, I can tell you that. And then this is the tortellini that I purchased for this recipe. If cooking intimidates you, then I recommend measuring out everything before you get started. That way you don't have to worry about measuring and you don't forget part of the ingredients as you're cooking. I have forgotten ingredients. I think in this one before I've forgotten the cream. It still worked out fine, but not as good, of course, if you if you don't forget the cream. But this is everything portioned out, so it should be relatively quick and easy. Like I said, first step, because I'm adding sausage to this, I'm gonna cook the sausage first. Like I said, I'm using 1 pot for this. I've already let this heat up a little bit. It's already warm because the Dutch ovens generally take a little bit of time. I'm gonna lay down some oil in there to help it not stick so much. And I probably heated this up a little bit too much. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of this, but I probably will. But I am gonna at least cook all of the sausage. So I'm gonna let that cook, brown that up, and then we'll get started on the tortellini portion. Hopefully I'm doing okay with the camera angle. So I think the sausage is done enough. It doesn't have to be 100% all the way done, as long as it's easy to cut, because it can finish cooking when I put it back in at the very end. So I'm gonna quickly move on to the next step. When you're cooking sausage like this, make sure you put water in there. It'll help the sausage cook. I added water a couple of times as it dried out. All right, so I'm gonna look at the recipe. So we're gonna do, add the garlic oil, garlic and sun-dried tomatoes, plus the seasoning and the red pepper flakes. And then we're gonna let it cook until the garlic is tender and fragrant. So here we go. I have it on a low, medium heat, and I'll adjust it as I see fit. Just depending on how things are going. And I probably would put more red pepper flakes in if the sausage wasn't already hot, but the sausage is already hot, so I don't know about this angle either for y'all. It's already getting fragrant. MacKenzie, I don't think cuts up her sun-dried tomatoes as much as I do because I don't think you really have to. I just don't love the texture of sun-dried tomatoes. I like the flavor. I don't like the texture of the like kind of longer strands of sun-dried tomatoes. So I just chop mine up pretty fine. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna give us a few more seconds. We're gonna put the flour in to make our roux. And I think the temperature is pretty good. I have it, like I said, on low medium. And once these Dutch ovens get up to heat, I mean, they stay pretty hot. All right, so I'm gonna put the flour in to do my roux. And I'm left-handed, probably not the best side to be showing you this on because you're getting my hand maybe too much. We'll see. I don't know about, I'm always like nervous if there's enough flour. I measured 2 tablespoons per the recipe and hopefully we're good on that. I put the flour away, so I don't have it handy, but I think I'm just gonna wing it. All right, so now I'm going to put in the chicken broth, and it's gonna come up to a boil, and then I'm supposed to let it thicken for 3 to 5 minutes, and then add the tortellini and a pinch of salt. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the broth. I think also one time when I did this recipe, I felt like I didn't have enough broth for the tortellini. I'm technically using less tortellini than MacKenzie calls for on her recipe card. So now I am gonna bring up the temperature on the stove a little bit just to bring this to a boil. All right, it is starting to thicken up a little bit. And I'm just continuing to stir because I don't want it to burn on the bottom. So it is slowly thickening up. I'm restraining myself from adding anything else. I'm trying to stick to the recipe as much as possible here. All right, so I am going to go ahead and add in the, let's see, she wants the tortellini first with a pinch of salt and stir. So I'm gonna go ahead, add the tortellini. I'm gonna do salt, I need to refill my salt shaker here. I'm gonna call that a pinch. This is Diamond, I forget the brand name, but it's a chef's salt, so it's not as potent as table salt, so I added a little bit more. And I'm just gonna stir this in, and it's gonna start to cook the tortellini. She doesn't say to cook it any longer, but I am going to turn it on a lower heat, almost to like the very low, and let it sit there for a second. I am gonna go ahead and cut the sausage so that it's ready to put in at the end. Then we'll cut the heat completely, put in the cream and Parmesan and spinach. All right, I'm cutting the heat. I'm actually just turning the stove on to like warming, just to keep it warm. I'm gonna add the cream. Mix that in a little bit. I am going to put most of, if you remember, I probably did more than a cup of the parm. I'm gonna save some of it just for topping. And then we're gonna do the spinach. And at this point, I'm gonna give it a mix here. It is a little runny right now, but it's definitely gonna thicken up as it continues to soak into the tortellini. But it's getting to the consistency that we want it. Also, I think it's a little bit less red than MacKenzie's. I think that probably I could have put a little bit more sun-dried tomato in here, but it smells delicious, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the sausage too. The sausage is a little bit pink on the inside. I'm gonna start there with the sausage. That's almost all of it. I'll probably wind up putting all of it in. But this is gonna thicken up a little bit more as it sits here. And I think the first time I did this, for whatever reason, it was almost too soupy. And that's, it's fine. It's not like the pictures, but it still tastes just as good. This is lots of flavor for a little amount of time and effort. So I'm gonna let this rest, marinate, finish kind of cooking off, and then we can plate it up. I'm now at the kitchen table. It's all done. The consistency is great now. It's maybe a little bit slightly tad, like 5%, 10% too soupy, but overall, it doesn't matter. It's great. So I've already tasted it, of course, to make sure everything was good, and it is delicious. This is perfect for a cold day. It is creamy and savory and delicious. Today's Christmas movie is The Family Stone. I think that Yasmin mentioned this when we were at Universal Holiday Tour. This is one of my favorites with Sarah Jessica Parker and Diane Keaton. Let's see, who else? Dermot Mulroney. It's a good cast. Luke Wilson. It's a good cast. And you know what? This film, I'd like to mention it again because this film got horrible reviews. I don't think many people know about this film, but it didn't get great reviews. Like on IMDb, it's like 6.3 out of 10, and I think it does not have a good Rotten Tomato score either. But I'm not sure why. It's a great film, so go check it out. It's a little sad. It's sad too, but there's a lot of funny parts, and I like it. TJ likes it. My mom likes it. We all like it. So go check that out. That is on Prime Video. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow.